So, John, I'd like to welcome you to this session of opportunity to talk to some prospective students. And John, can you give us just a quick background on who you are and how you came actually to the HSGI program at Spatial Sciences Institute?
Sure. Thanks for having me today. So I've been in the U.S. military for about 17 and a half years now. The last 12 of those have been spent within special operations. And in that time, the need for rapid, accurate, and well-fused geospatial data has really been prevalent to the entirety of my career. So as I continued to work forward and eventually got involved with USC's Institute for Creative Technologies and the One World Terrain program, the GIST or the HSGI program was brought to my attention, and it kind of solidified not only the things that I enjoy doing in my spare time, but also the need for continued growth within my career field. So the two just kind of blended together, and now I've been moving into my last semester before graduation.
Yeah, great. And John, I've known you for a long time, and I appreciate all your things you've done, not only for the program but for your service in uniform. So I represent the whole group here, I think, and saying thank you. You talk a little bit about why you see 3D data and some of the applications of it are important to you.
Sure, and you're completely correct, sir. There's only certain things you can do without having a map and a compass and a protractor. A paper map is one of the greatest tools that anybody could ever have at their disposal. But when we look at the changing environment, not just in the civilian sector, but also within the military, the need for that high fidelity capability of seeing the terrain, seeing the area of operation or the battlefield within a 3D space, it really just brings a new echelon of capability, a new echelon of what can actually be done by the person on the ground. And really it stems a lot further past, the military aspect. When we look at, post-disaster or current disaster management and different techniques it's used for, having that ability to go out and rapidly collect, an area that's just been ravished by a hurricane or an earthquake or forest fires, and be able to see and do change detection on those areas in a 3D space rapidly through a simulated environment, and then give that to first responders to have them be able to go out and see where the places were hardest hit, see where we could potentially have people that were stranded and need immediate care or immediate aid. It's something that has been around for a long time, but it's only in the last few years that it's really been used at the full extent of its capability. And it's really still part of an evolutionary process, moving forward, to where we're finding ways to more quickly produce that terrain, move from the 5 to 7, 10 centimeter 3D representations into the sub-centimeter representations with nothing more than a quadcopter, that anybody can go out and fly at a few hundred feet. And that's the difference between being able to see windows and doors on the building and being able to actually take a look and say, hey, I know what kind of lock that is, and because of the forest fire that just took place and destroyed these homes, that entire mechanism is melted, so we're not going to be able to just walk in. We need to bring in certain kinds of tools. And being able to put that at the disposal of either a first responder or a warfighter, it's really pushing us into the genesis of a new epoch of what 3D is bringing to the masses.
Yeah, and a great illustration of the differences of the different types of data and the importance to be able to understand and recognize the power of both. That actually kind of leads to maybe some differences in our program. So we have the GIST master's degree as one option, and then we have the HSGI master's degree as another option. And so you made a decision along the way that you had options to go in one direction or the other, and you chose the HSGI master's. So what kind of led you to that decision and that degree, and how do you think you're going to use that degree moving forward?
So for me, my background in computers, my background in how I've used both 2D and 3D applications for the military is really what drove me to I want to be a part of that next generation of what becomes of 3D terrain and how it's developed, how it's created, how we implement it. And the management aspect of working on projects, like One World Terrain, or through the various things that ICT has going on, or just being in charge or part of groups within the coursework so far, and figuring out how to best work with other people, how to implement what we can do through programs like context capture or Pix4D, and all of those. They all come with their little quirks. The people you work with come with quirks. You yourself, or you as a person, come with a quirk that other people have to then deal with. So for me, the HSGI program, it is able to leverage the near 2 decades of experience I already have when it comes to the intelligence aspect, which came from my career, but then really look at how I can leverage all of that experience as I move towards, a future civilian career, whether it be continuing in the intelligence, career field, but then also seeing that the overlap that comes from how we in the military use 3D data and how it can be used on the civilian side for disaster management, relief, and things like that. For me, that was the HSGI was the best way to kind of merge those two to help support a seamless transition and really take everything I've learned to this point and put it to good use in that next chapter of my life, so that anybody that I work with can really pull from it.
Yeah, and you articulate very well the idea of secure and safe communities. So on the one end of the spectrum, security, and at the national, international level, pointing into the spear, national security equals often military operations and in combat zones. But then on the other side of it, there's how do we respond to Mother Nature when Mother Nature shows up, and that may or may not have something to do with security, but often has something to do with safety. And so full spectrum security and safety, and how your interests have lined up with that, and the future of the technology moving forward. I think it's just a great fit and a natural fit for why you would choose something like HSGI. So again, appreciate your insights there. So maybe one final question, and that's this idea: we all are very busy. We have work that we do in the classroom. We have work that we do outside of the classroom. We have other things in life that are important to us, whether it be family or friends or hobbies. We have all these things that we try to do as these young professionals, mid-grade professionals that are working on something like a master's degree. So work-life balance. How have you been able to successfully, and I will assume, we'll claim success, that you've been successfully able to kind of move through work-life balance issues as you've maintained a career, been in education, been part of a family? How has that worked for you? And maybe some thoughts on how to be successful in that.
I will tell you, a lot of coffee and understanding professors there at the school have been paramount to the success. Everyone has their things in life that take up their time. For me, between deployments, I've done a number of my courses from USC while I was deployed. I have my one child was born when I first, he was a toddler when I first started the program. Just recently, my daughter was born, so I've been dealing with having a newborn in the house, as well as continued work with ICT on various projects there. And I will say that it doesn't come without difficulty, but I think knowing that you as a person want to succeed is definitely key. Knowing that there's always time, whether it's maybe not taking that extra 20 minutes to sleep in, maybe that's 5 minutes to sleep in and that 15 minutes of studying, or working on a paper, or working with your classmates on a project or a discussion board. We all say we run out of time, but there is always extra time. It's just a matter of we're able to allocate it in the proper places. And really, the second thing is the support structure that comes with it. I've been very blessed that my spouse is, when it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm still up doing homework because I've had been traveling throughout the week, or I've, coming back from deployment. She's really good at, being understanding about, like, hey, I understand why he's not in bed, or I understand why he didn't get the things done that he said he was going to get done. And then the same goes with work and friends and everything else. Having that support structure there that understands the difficulties you're dealing with and is willing to help you out, as you push through, is huge. And then definitely it's not lost on the instructors and things like that at the school. The amount of understanding that everyone has had for the situation that I've been in, that I'm sure many other students are dealing with as well. It's between my other 2 degrees, this is the first time I've had the level of support from an institution to take up that understanding of what was going on in the personal life, and realize, like, hey, there's a way to make everything work. We just have to find it together. So that's been one of the best parts of being at USC.
Yeah,